Hello and welcome to the Rat Nest Podcast, episode number something. I'm your host, Matt Peromo. I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, Jim Cox.
Heyo.
And today we're talking to Colin, non-heinous Shawcross.
Whoa! Hey, big round of
Let's
applause.
go.
Hey.
Let's go.
Yes,
How you
dude.
doing, man? It's great having you with us today, dude. Thanks for joining us.
Of course, man. How you guys doing? Thanks so much for having me on. You know, it's like a whole billion artists out there, so I'm really grateful to be selected to be on your show, man. I'm really stoked.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, we appreciate that, and we appreciate everyone that comes on here. We don't have the reach to talk to everybody, but we kind of curate it as the shit that we're into and the people whose art we like and that are working and struggling to get their name out there. It's like that's who we try to highlight and who we try to hit up if we don't know you personally. Some are just friends and they have to be allowed on, but you, on the other hand, are a chosen one.
Ooh, I like it, man. I'm telling everybody you said that too. Like, damn, they chose me.
Hell yeah, dude.
Chosen rodent, bro.
I don't know if you're familiar with the 1980s, early 90s classic Golden Child with Eddie Murphy. You are my golden
You're
child.
my golden child.
I gotta watch it now. Like, listen, this is what this guy meant.
Yo, have you ever thrown a penny down a bottomless pit and not heard it bing? Because
You might be the golden child.
you might be the golden child. Look,
I learned a lot. We doing this 90 seconds, and I just learned 3 new things. I'm with it.
That's what we like to do here on Rat Nest. We like to support educational talk.
have you heard of this guy, Eddie Murphy? He's
Let's
a new
talk about him
cat
for a
on the
little bit.
scene. Yeah, man. But honestly, thank you so much for giving up some of your time today and sitting down and bullshit with us. I've been a fan of your work for the last couple of years since I found out about you, and it's just kind of seemed to progress, especially with, I guess, your involvement in the beer culture. Because for many years, from the time I was 21 up until a couple years ago, I was a full-time bartender, and beer was very important to me. It still is. Cheers. But how?
Yeah.
I mean, let's start there. I know this has probably been a developing project. People might not know what Beer Zombies is, but can you tell us a little bit about it and how you got involved with them?
Man, so a lot of it stems from I was working overnight at a job, so like there's a lot of idle time, so I would just kind of like research how do I grow my drawing stuff on Instagram. Like, oh, you got to have like obviously good content, number one. That's like 1 through 9 out of 10 options. Then it's just like figuring out hashtags and trying to target people like you kind of want to work with. So I think I did artwork. I reached out to this guy called the Hop Squad. He kind of really opened a lot of doors for me. I did artwork for him, and I did a Garbage Pail Kid homage, like called Beer Nerd, and he was so stoked on it, and he posted it, and which is great. And he tags me because that helps me a lot. And then Chris from Beer Zombies just sent me a DM. He's like, "Yo, man, I'm a beer guy. This is what I'm doing. I'm looking to get like myself the Circle Jerks guy." I'm like, "Hey, I'm the guy to come to draw the Circle Jerks guy. So this is gonna be great." So like we started talking more, and like, he's from Vegas, and then he said he was an Eagles fan. I'm from Philly, and it's just like your blood type is sports. So it's just like so this guy's awesome already. And then I just did that shirt design for him. Then I think I did another one. Then he was just kind of like, "Yeah, I'm probably gonna start doing beer soon." Because he just seemed like he was just like a beer like vagabond guy. Go to a place, post about it, get a big following.
Right.
But like that's the thing. Like you get a lot of messages from people like, "I'm gonna blow up, dude. I'm taking you with me," and you believe it. Like, "Oh yeah, this guy's gonna change my life. This is awesome." But like Chris is like follow through with that tenfold. So like I think our first beer label was the Shining one. And then the second part of that was like the one with Wendy. Then it just like went from there, and he's just like on a rocket ship, and I'm somehow on it with him. I just got lucky one day.
Love it.
It's just like you do art for one dude, and he posted. Then his buddy's like, "Damn, I need artwork." Then
Yeah.
it just pulled me in from there.
So funny. Yeah, you never know how it's going to blow up. And especially, like you said, it's like people that are overly confident about stuff, especially promising other people things as far as promotion or, publicity or, exposure. You have to take it with a grain of salt. And I try never to hit anyone up in that manner. It seems so unprofessional to me to be like, "I'm the shit, bro. Like, you need to get with me now." And it's like, I don't know.
Well, and I think the reason that seems so gauche or whatever is because 99% of the people that do that see an opportunity in you and they're like, ooh, I'm going to capitalize on you and like spin it like I'm going to help you, you know? But it sounds like dude you were working with was actually like, no, this is what we should do together. Like, let's both do this together and blow up. You know what I mean? It just takes follow through.
Yeah, he followed through like tremendously. I remember it was just like, it was, I think it was just kind of like the early part of 2019, we started working together. Then like when the pandemic hit, we were both like, oh man, because I had lost my job. I got furloughed from a printing place I was working at, and I lost like a couple drawing jobs in a row. Because like drawing is like how me and the family survives. That pays for our life, which is just like, it's insane to say now. You know what I mean? But a couple jobs got lost. I'm like, man, I don't know what I'm going to do. I just got laid off. And I'm talking to him, and he's like, I don't know what I'm going to do either. You know, because he paid himself. He'll probably never tell people this, but he paid himself minimum wage to run Beer Zombies and employ his other people and the stuff he was doing. So like when he went to go collect the unemployment that time when things closed down, he was like screwed.
Oh,
so he's like, you know what? He's like, I'm going to do a glass. How about, can you give me a glass design real quick? So I drew like the Big Lebowski kind of glass for him. And then it kept going from there. And then like at the same thing, someone else in his community seen it, and then they needed art. And like, it turned out like the pandemic was horrible, but like the drawing jobs went through the roof. Like it changed my life from there. So like him hanging in there with me and just like, okay, I'll take this hit. I'll buy this design. Boom. It's just like, I don't know. I can't say enough about that guy for what he's done for what I'm doing here.
That's really cool, man. We want to say it's lucky, but the reality is like, it's character that builds those types of opportunities. You know what I mean? Like anyone could look at that and go, oh, you got so lucky because you happened to meet this guy. But you know, those relationships are built off of because who you are and who they are, and like-minded character comes together and works out perfectly. You know, if you guys had different desires or different kind of been on different pages about it, there's no way it would have prospered like this. But just the fact that obviously it seems like you both are caring people. You want the best for the community and for the art. You're not there just to be like, yo, give me $1 million, set me up in a studio and send me on. I'm gonna send you on your way. Like it shows when people want to create for the art.
Yeah, and it's just, and the thing is too, he's a talented graphic designer. Like if you look at his page and see like his flyers for events, that's all him. And when I draw his labels, like he usually does the text and background and stuff. So I do like his spot design, but like, dude, he is fucking good. So it just brings to the other point where it's just like, he didn't need me at all for that time. But he was still like, you know what, like I'm gonna throw this guy a bone. And he was always like, he always just like had my back through it, you know? And it's like the same with Imprint Beer, because like Imprint's like my local spot that I work for out here. And those like that was crazy in itself, because my buddy's band's called Merit, or a pop punk band out here in like the Philadelphia area. They did a collab beer with them, and they're like, hey, you just want to do the design for the label? I'm like, yeah, sure. So the brewery's seen that, and I've been working with them for almost 4 years now.
Oh, wow. Rad. That's super cool.
All because like a kid I met in 2012 when I was still in a band remembered me 10 years later to do a beer label for him, and then just went from there. So like you're saying, it's like the relationships, the character, you know what I mean? Yeah. I could have been a complete dick to that kid. He would have been like, fuck this guy.
Exactly, dude. That's so funny. And I don't know if I've ever like really thought like, fuck this person, I'm not going to hit him up, but I just don't think to hit them up.
Yeah, they're not on the top of the list when they're dickheads.
I'm not like a spiteful guy. Like I'm just like, I let it roll off my back pretty easy. But if there's someone involved in anything I did that like didn't rub me in a great way, there's no way I would hit them up to do anything again.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Because I think it's just in your head. It's like, man, why am I going to help you? You made me feel this, but I'm of the same mindset now that, you know, I don't have it conquered perfectly yet. But like, if like there's someone that still bothers me in my head and I let them live rent free, I'm like, you know what? I don't wish anything bad for you. I don't wish anything for you. You know what I mean? It's just like that page is turned, and I'm still getting used like better at doing that in my life, besides just like, you know, getting like Sylvester the cat pissed off at something. Like, just like, you know, what is that? Yosemite Sam. Oh my God. In my brain, I'm Yosemite Sam, just freaking out all the time.
Yeah. Steam blowing out the ears.
But that it really just does come down to character. You know what I mean? Just like sometimes rubbing someone the right way, and just even just doing something nice for them or being nice to them, they'll remember it forever. Like,
it's true. Totally. It really is.
It's crazy, man. It's like you grow connections and you make friends with people that you never expected to, you know, especially with music. It's like, there's guys that we played with or that, you know, we've seen play that I look up to that we eventually become friends. And it's like, it's a weird progression, but it's also one that's like, all right, this you interact with so many people. There's only a few that you can hit up on the regular and like ask a favor or like do something for if they need something. It's not everyone is that lucky to make acquaintances like that, but I think music and especially maybe punk rock lends itself so amazingly to that.
Dude, fucking man. If it wasn't for punk rock, dude, like I don't like. First and foremost, I gotta say, like that's my dad. Like a lot of people grow up like, I hate my mom and dad, that's why I got into fucking punk. Like I came out wearing a Sex Pistol shirt.
Yeah.
Basically, my dad was like a punk rock dude, like born in the 50s, was sick of that shit in the 60s, was a punk rock dude in the 70s, but also had his right ear pierced because like he wanted to fight people because they wanted to think he was gay so he could just go mash them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was like he just loved pissing people off because that was the thing. If you had like a right earring,
Yeah.
you're a gay dude. He'd be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna come. He would just like I used to make him tell me stories about him whooping dudes' asses when he was little. But like he was just that punk rock guy taking me to the record stores. Like kids are like 7 to 8 years old. Like, oh yeah, like I'm listening to Alanis Morissette. My dad's like, yo, let's listen to Pretty Vacant again, dude. Like listen to New York Dolls and Sex Pistols. And he was just a cool dude. But like that's what he like made me start. Like I don't remember ever not having punk rock in my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think it just teaches you such like a thing about hard work. Like there's nothing easy about punk. It's just like you have to go. You have to like fight to stay your own way because it's so easy just to kind of get caught up in bullshit. And it's the same with drawing. Like you can see, an artist. You're like, man, this guy's art's so good. I love this guy's art. Like takes Skinner behind me. I have his flag hanging behind me there.
Oh yeah, Skinner rules.
And I love that dude's art. And then the next thing you know, like you're like going through his book and you're on his Instagram and you find yourself trying to draw like that. Then you're like, wait, am I trying to draw like Skinner? Or am I trying to draw like myself? You know what I mean? It's the same with bands and stuff like that. Like you're writing the songs, you heard the song was rap. You're like, damn, did I just carbon copy that song? Like this isn't my thing at all.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's easy to kind of find yourself in with music, especially because I don't know. In my experience, Jim, you could back me up on this. We've played music together. You'll start jamming something and it'll be like, oh, I really like this. Like this riff is fucking tough. Like let's jam on this. And then you listen to it later and you're like, oh, that's just like a ripoff of At the Drive-In, or like, that's just like the same kind of progression as like this Jimmy Eat World riff or whatever it was that we were listening to when we were 19 or 20. Right. And we didn't realize that we were just creating that in a different way.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, this is kind of like a carbon copy. But yeah, it's weird in an art aspect because I think in art you're more inclined to do it. Your stuff's gonna look differently. Sound wise, you play the same note as someone else, but when you're drawing something, that line's always different. That curvature is always different. Your hand has a different feel than someone else. So even if you're trying to replicate style, it's not necessarily like exactly what someone's doing unless you really try to make it that way.
Well, and that's when that's when that word.
Go ahead, brother.
That's when that word derivative comes in. You know what I'm saying? Like everyone hated that word coming from their art teacher. Like, oh, this is just derivative of this, or you could do it in your style. Like, what do you want it to look like, rather than just trying to recreate or repurpose. Oh, we gotta.
Oh yeah, just slap homage on it, and you're all good.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. So I want to shift gears just a little bit. I know you're like doing all these designs and everything, super into the beer scene out there in Philly. Like, what is that beer scene looking like out there? We have obviously like a heavy beer scene here in Southern California, a lot of like West Coast IPAs and like people are doing sours and stuff. Like, what is your guys' beer scene looking like?
So it's crazy, for as much as I like do design, like 90% of my artwork comes from like California and Las Vegas.
Oh, okay.
I would say less than 5% is Philly, PA. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
So out here, it's the thing, and it's crazy to me because like, you know, when I got into craft beer, it was actually I lived in Carlsbad for a little bit. And I went to that Pizza Port Brewing, and the first beer I had was that Wipeout, and I'm like, 7%, dude, that's like drinking 2 beers at once.
Yeah.
And it was the best tasting thing. Like after like 3 of them, my cousin's pulling me away because I'm all sweaty and my face is all red. He's like, all right, man, we gotta go home. So I was always at the mindset, like, damn, like this like IPA is the coolest thing, and you come back home and no one knows what it is because it's like 2008 and everybody's drinking Bud Light bubbles.
Yeah.
But like here, it's like, it seems like it's like the fruit beers, the smoothie. things, like that's like really popular out here now.
The like
the company,
lactose, like thick, hazy
the milkshake
stuff.
Which is, it's beyond. I mean, it's awesome. It keeps people stoked. I'm unfamiliar with it.
Yeah.
But I'm starting to see the Pilsner and lagers kind of like creep back in.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like personally, that's my favorite, Pilsners and lagers, because like in a brewery, like I always tell people when you go to a brewery, try one of them first, even a sample. And if it tastes like good and clean, everything else is going to be awesome. Because
it's the hardest shit to make. It's the one that kind of like you have to hit. You can't dress it up, you know, it has to be good for what it is and true to the style. But that's funny, man, because I think the milkshake craze and that whole like lactose IPA and all that shit, it originated back east, obviously, like kind of the Northeast and probably, you know, Philly and New England stuff. And then it came to California because I remember, I'm going to murder all these breweries, but you know, all the big hitters. Who's the guys with the whale and
the guys with the whale.
You know what? If I could think of it right now, I'm totally blanking, which I'm gonna feel like a piece of shit later for. But like even like Bissell Brothers and stuff, like there's these breweries that kind of got like the hype started, and maybe that started with Bell's Two Hearted Ale coming to California, because that was only, you know, 5-6 years ago, maybe longer than that, 6-7 years ago. But when it hit, it created that hazy boom in SoCal where it was like, oh, it's like almost like a more full-bodied, sweeter IPA, and you know, this is what they're doing. This is an East Coast IPA, so then everyone jumped on board and they're like, "Wow, tell me more about this East Coast thing." Yeah, it's funny. You guys are trendsetters for us, even though I think per capita we have far more breweries than probably around where you're at.
Yeah, you guys you had to have them, but it seems like we're opening up a lot more smaller ones out here. They're not as like bigger scaled, because I think kind of like people have like learned their lesson from like trying to grow too quick. Now you have like millions of dollars worth of equipment, but the sales aren't hitting that number.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That bubble burst quick.
You're buying a lot of old turnkey breweries. It's sad, but you know, people are still going to be making beer no matter what, just at a smaller scale. I just don't understand where it's like $20 for a 4-pack. I'm like, come on, man.
That's standard out here, bro.
Yo, anywhere out here, 4-packs are $15, and it's like it's fine. It's cool in the sense that, like, I guess they're pints, and you would pay more than $4 a can or $4 a pint at the brewery, so I can justify it. But also, I remember when 6-packs of craft beer, like Lost Coast up in Eureka, California, was like an old school like craft beer brewery, and we used to get the 4-packs for $5, or I mean 6-packs for $5. They're $4.99 for a 6-pack of beer, and that was when I was like, you know, early 20s, and it was like my first introduction. That and Sierra Nevada and Bear Republic. You know, Racer 5 was $6 or $7 a 6-pack, and that was like, damn, you got Racer 5? Like, that's the shit.
Yeah. Go to.
Oh, yes, man. I feel that. I felt that way about Flower Power. I forget the brewery. Ithaca did it out here, and I had it, and I'm like, oh my God, is this it? This is the one. I would like call stores like, yo, do you guys have Flower Power?
You guys carry this?
So when you're designing a label, or when you're designing like a glass, like you were saying, or something like that, the label, does the style of beer come into play ever, or like with your design, or is it just like they want this, the name is really the thing that kind of motivates you?
Yeah, I guess I like to know the name sometimes, but it's gotten to a point now where like I feel like I have such a good relationship of trust with who I'm working with. They're just like, hey, yeah, just go with it. The beer name's this, just fit it in there. You know, like it seems like they're just like content to have the artwork, and then they slap the name on, which is cool. But there's been a couple beers I've done where it's okay, like this is this thing, so I'd like this to be shown and that to be shown. Because like some people are like, oh yeah, like we're using lactose, so I want that shown in there. And I'm thinking, I'm like, how do I draw lactose? Yeah, like I'm like, you want to do like an angry milk carton or something?
I was gonna say just milk dripping off the logo.
A cow teat.
Yeah, like that. But like I forget who I was doing that for. I think I only worked with them that one time. But I'm like, yeah, it might be hard to like, you know, really draw that, but we'll figure it out, dude. No worries. That's
funny. Do you ever, when you get a commission and they give you kind of a list of ideas or things they want you to maybe bring into the illustration, do you ever just say no?
I was going to say this on the text with you guys too. And we were talking about what we'll go over, like about not touching anything political because I have no dog in the fight. I don't listen, no matter who's in, no matter who's out, my fucking taxes go up and everything keeps getting more and more expensive. So, but that's the reality I live in. But someone mentioned something about doing like a Let's Go Brandon design. And I'm like, I didn't know what it was. And he told me and I just didn't answer back. Like, no, that's it. We're good. And like someone else hit me up with it was so the context of this guy hitting me up is that he is like a 6-figure a year, probably lives in a gated community with their own cop car coming in to check secure of their home. He wanted me to make like an all cops are bastard pig in a cop suit. And I'm like, dude, you're such a fucking poser. Like, there's no fucking way I'm doing this for you. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, there's no fucking way I'm doing that, man. Because it's just like, it's because it's not true. You know what I mean? It's just
it doesn't matter what side. It's just not, it's not legit.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, like, not a chance. Like, I'm not playing this game with you. Like, because I know you and your fancy little life.
That's funny.
You know what I mean? Like,
kudos to that, bro. It's kind of hard to stick up for it sometimes. And plus, it's very easy to accidentally place yourself in a corner when you're doing commissions for someone else. And then they're like, yo, we want this Let's Go Brandon thing. And then your name is associated now with this like political stance just because you took money to create the art, you know? So kudos to you for recognizing that that's your voice, that's your image, whether they're paying for their brand or not. Like, that's still you that you're putting out there.
Yeah, and like, and the dude who was asking me to do it is the coolest dude. Like, cool, I would have a beer with that guy, like, no problem. You know what I mean? But it's just like, but I didn't like, there was no flag from it. I wasn't like, man, like, you're this, you're that. I was just like, oh, hey, how's everything else going, man?
Yeah. And you got to do that.
We were talking about, because like, I'm not trying to have a conversation with them about what's right and wrong. Because listen, man, your opinion is your opinion, and I am stoked you feel that way. I'm glad you feel it. It's just not my vibe, and I'm not trying to put something out there that's going to upset anybody else. Because all it does is just make stuff look bad for my end. And that's why, like, this is just, I'm just a faceless artist. That's why I try to never even post my face on my own Instagram. It's like, I just like to draw.
Yo, I was telling Jim earlier. Hello. I was telling Jim earlier, I was like, I'm not sure what this dude looks like. He could be like 50. He could be like 30. I don't fucking know. I was like, I just like his art and seems cool.
And that's the point. I'm just not like a selfie dude. Like when I was younger, like I feel like everybody was like, yo, MySpace, what's up? Everybody's like, bang, hitting it. But like, as I got older, I'm like, nah, I just don't want this to be about my face, man. It's just weird, you know?
Yeah,
like,
that's right.
But that's how I felt. It's just like, you know, like I wasn't upset with these guys for what their feelings were. I got my little shtick back there, but it was just like, it's just not my thing. I just don't want to attach myself to it. So I usually just kind of fade away. I don't freak out because, God, you say something in a text, it's just going to be screenshot. This dude's a dick.
Right.
Like,
yeah. And whatever. It's like you said, it's like I could have a beer with the dude. We'd be cool. It's like we don't have to fight about things, but I just also don't want to work on a certain project or like, you know what I mean? But kudos to you for not, you know, just being like, well, it's money. You know, I could just do this. Cause I mean, that's
some people do. You
got a lot of pride, dude. And that's cool.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I appreciate that. And like, it's just one of the, and I make note, and I'm sure like there's some people out there who would like go and post about why I didn't do this. And none of that crap matters. It's just a quick little thing. I don't need, it's nobody else's business. I'm attaching nobody's name or face to it. It's just like, hey man, cool. Let's just, let that one just fly away real quick. We'll work again later.
Elaborating a little bit on the first question of like getting hit up by people and you saying no. Do you get hit up by a lot of people that just don't have any idea what stuff costs or like what it really like takes, that they're like, can I do this? Can you do this? I got this. Can you like, I don't know. Yeah, I feel like when I was like a kid, I would hit up people that were way out of my league and be like, hey man, like if you want to come skateboard, it'd be cool to skateboard with you, you know, or like, you know,
yeah, like this guy knows I'm $500 an hour, right? Like,
yeah. He's like 16. He's like, oh shit, that's lunch money for a year.
It's so again, this is, I guess, what is it? 2022. So I really didn't start taking this serious until I want to say 2017. It was October 2016 when that Inktober happened. I'm like, oh, I can just draw stuff that's just weird and just post it. Because before I was just doing maybe 8 jobs a year for my friends. And like it was not fucking good. There was no character to it. I just wasn't doing a good job. And then so like when I started getting jobs, then I would kind of charge really low. So people would come to me and know I'm new at it and kind of lowball me, and I would take it because I'm like, okay, it's experience, and it got busier and busier. But then like there's people who were like, I'm like, hey, like with some people I'm just like, hey, like what's your budget? Let me know what your budget is for the job, and they tell me, and I'm like, okay, yeah, that's cool. And then you have other people who are like, I do a design for them, and the dude gave me $9, not even $10, $9. Just like,
Ouch.
and I was just like, no, man, cool, thank you, I appreciate it. But I'm like, couldn't give me that 10 spot on that design?
Yeah, I had to bring singles into this.
But I feel like that stuff turns into good karma because as I've grown and things have gotten better, I feel like my work itself as it's progressed is just kind of like giving me a position to be like charge a certain amount because I'm like, I'm giving you quality no matter what. You know what I mean?
And be comfortable charging that amount.
Yeah. And it's just so I know the difference between like working for a giant company that have the wherewithal to pay for something a little more than versus a dude who's like, hey man, I'm starting a t-shirt brand. This is my first design. This is what I'm working with. And I'm like, dude, hell yeah. You know what I mean? Like send me a t-shirt, you know, just give me a shout out because the shout out goes a long way too. You know what I mean? But like, that's what it is. So I don't have like a flat rate thing. And like, people don't really lowball me too much, like you were saying, but like, you'll get some people like, dude, I'll repost you. Like, I don't got money to pay you, but I'll tag you on my Instagram. We're good, right? Like, oh, dude, that's it. So when I go to pay my mortgage, I'm like, listen, my homie tagged me on Instagram. We're good, right?
Yeah.
That's got me covered.
I can write that off. We're good.
That's a tax deductible. I'll get his taxes handle over to you. No problem.
They're like, did you buy any property this year? And did you have any shout outs?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it says you got 7 shout outs here. Dude, you're good, fam. Keep going. Talk to you next year. For the most part, you're lucky that the only things you run into sometimes it's like there's a certain, it's another thing I'm not gonna like single out, but there's a certain community of people who reach out to me here and there to get artwork done, and it's the same thing. Oh, I'm gonna blow up and crypto and all these things. I'm starting 10, 12 different companies at one time. You're gonna be my main artist. They start having me work on several jobs. Everything's cool. We're all good. Then they ghost me. So like it's not so much that you missed out on like the money from the jobs, which is, you know, it's a job's money. It is what it is, but it's just the time,
the effort and time. Yeah. Do you fuck with any of that crypto stuff? Do you even the NFT stuff, or like as an artist, like do you even try to like dabble in that?
Dude, you've seen how hard it was for me to get my goddamn video to work. Can you imagine trying to do an NFT?
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, I was talking to my buddy about it at work. He's like, I don't know, man. It seems like a drug front. And then I had like this hour, I had like an hour conversation with this dude, another guy who was just like talking to me about NFTs like crazy and like getting me all stoked about it. And then I haven't heard from him. And then like it just seems like a big crazy flash in the pan thing. Like I would love to get into it. I don't want to do one as like a non-heinous token because I don't have the time to like represent it, but like I would work with someone who'd want to do it, but it falls onto that same community who's like really motivated, but then just disappears. I had a dude already burn me working with him for an NFT. Like I designed this bear for him. And then we started adding like different eyes and mouths and stuff like that, like something similar to animation. And then just goes to me when it came time to pay me for a few things. I'm just like, ugh, brutal.
That's the hardest thing about being in the art community is dealing with people that aren't in the art community. They just think of it as like, oh, you just had to sit down at a computer and then like bust this out. It shouldn't be that hard, but they don't realize how much goes into it, especially when you're doing illustration and graphic design. Like they ask for one small change. Now you damn near have to reproduce the entire thing to make sure symmetry is right and, you know, lettering and all that.
It's like, yo, can you move this arm a little bit? I'm like, this isn't a Lego.
This isn't,
I can't twist.
That's exactly it. An illustration, especially a finished product, when someone asks for something from you and doesn't give you any, even with the guidelines they give you, you're inside those, and then ask for a correction after you present them with the final artwork or the contribution, it's like,
nah,
I don't know how you think this works. Like, I can't just erase half of this fucking thing and rework it all. It's crazy. I'd have to redraw the whole thing.
Yeah, and it comes down to how big the edit is. Like, oh man, there is a time, maybe towards the end of last year too, I was working for this dude. Dude was cool as hell. He was stoked the entire time. Oh, this is great. This is great. Keep going, keep going. Scanned it, lined it, colored it. Can we change the angle of the car? I'm like, dude, I'm gonna have to redraw this whole thing. He's like, oh, is that cool? I'm like, yeah,
is that
but
cool?
Dude, that's
It's
the
like,
hardest
cool,
thing to be like, no, it's not cool.
Yeah.
This fucking sucks.
that like that's why it's just like, you know, you type out and then delete, delete, you know? So like it was like, but I told him like, hey, like this is like the first time we work together. So usually when I send you a sketch, dude, just tell me anything you want to change because that's the easiest point. Because I can draw over top of pencil on a eraser, no problem. Once you have color in there and things are laid in, it's like, all right, man, this is going to take some like real fuckery to get this timely. This isn't like give me 5 minutes.
It's a step below tattooing. I mean, it's like,
Yeah,
you better speak now before this project starts, or else
it's on.
the final product's on you, bro. Like, this is what you get.
Yeah. And luckily enough, it doesn't happen enough to like really bitch about it. That's what I'm super fortunate about. Like these events I'm talking about have happened over the course of, I guess it would be 5 years now. But like when they happen, man, they just burn into your soul. You're like, oh,
All right, dude.
God.
We've been hounding you about clientele, but I actually have like the one question I wanted to ask you. Like I said, I've been checking your workout for a couple years now, and the composition like is dope.
Yeah,
Like you fill the page well, and I was wondering if there's anything that you've noticed in your own work that you could share with us that helps you putting something together, like when you start, like how things are going to be laid out, or if there's something not to do, like you're saying, is like that you don't want to have to change later. Like, does that make sense?
I think what he's trying to say is like,
No, I'm just kidding.
yeah,
No, I got you. Like it was also one of those things too. Like I got so used to drawing. I call it spot designs, where it's just like, say behind you, for instance, you have like that gnarly eyeball in there. So like, hey, I need a design. Like, I just want like an eyeball with this. I'm like, okay, cool. So I just draw the eyeball. I never gave thought to doing the background. And then I'll see like if it makes a sticker, it's sick because it's easy. But then if they make it on a shirt, I'm just like, man, I left a lot of room there. I'm like, I could have made this better. You know what I mean? So I'm just like, damn. So I'll say to myself, like, how can I make this cooler? How can I check this out? So I just like, as time went on, like I was saying, I didn't go to art school or nothing like that. I had really no training. I could goof around and draw things to make people laugh when I was younger, like draw my band's flyers and shit like that. But then once I started taking it serious, I had to like learn things. Like I would look at dudes like horse bites, like right when my daughter was born.
Yeah,
I remember like she would like fall asleep around 7 o'clock. And I'd go on Google and I would look up this dude, Mike C. Hardcore, who was a badass artist. And then I found horse bites and I'm like, man, this is like rad too. And like, I always believed like these guys draw this the first time right. They just color it and it's fucking sick. I suck at this. My pens are terrible. This is never going to work. Like, and then I didn't realize that like if I practice at things, like you would get better. But like, I'm really into like the Puss Head, Jim Phillips kind of like old, like Lance Mountain, Suicidal Tendencies graphic stuff. Because I didn't realize till last year he did the early Suicidal Tendencies t-shirts.
Who, Lance Mountain did?
Yeah, so yeah, Lance, so their first record where it's like the dude's hanging and they had the
no
designs.
shit.
That's all Lance Mountain's artwork.
I did not know that,
dude.
Insane.
You just dropped that on me. I fucking love Lance Mountain. He's a SoCal regular. Like one of the first pros I remember seeing him when I was like a kid and being like, fuck, this is the OG. And he still kills it. He's so sick. He's an old man.
Yeah.
But I had no idea that was him. That's fucking crazy.
It's rad.
Yeah, I forget where I read it because he wasn't outward about it. You know what I mean? Because I don't know if it was like the Christian thing or something. Which is
probably.
Respectful and cool, dude. Right on. Your thing, rad. You don't punish no one with it. I love it.
Right.
But like it makes you love him more because he's so humble. And it was, God, for that time, like seeing that art then's like, dude, what?
Yeah.
So like that and like the Raymond Pettibon style. But like I grew up loving Todd McFarlane and Spawn Comics. Yeah. So I wanted to, so it didn't help that he put out, you know, he hit the cover for Korn's record and I thought I was in Korn for the mid part of my teens. So I always tried to draw like him, like sort of real, sort of cartoon. But once I started to realize like, man, my style really lends itself to like the gnarly skateboard cartoon. That's where I just had this new kind of confidence. Like, this is my thing now. I'm not trying to draw like this, like stiff, no personality kind of artwork. Once I started getting weird and having fun with like my eyeball gore and having fun with like my shading and stuff like that, like that's how I started filling things in, just putting weird things in there. Like it all depends per the design, because some people just want one thing, nothing behind it, because they're just doing a sticker. But with, like, I'm really into the thing now. Like, I'm kind of noticing as like my things are progressing lately. Like I just like filling it out, because I love people to really look at something, especially like a beer can. Like they get it to like they twist it all the way around. Like, oh man,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh dude, you see that? Or, like I'll hide like Beer Zombies has me hide dinguses on his labels. So like if you look on some of his stuff, there's stuff hidden everywhere. And then Imprint, I always hide eyeballs on stuff. So it's just like I want people to be stoked and like sip their beer, but like, oh, what's going on in this thing? Like it's like you're reading the magazine. Well, new magazine came out. You're checking it out. You know what I mean?
You're fully involved in it, in the artwork. It's like you're enjoying it for more than just the looks. It's like you're experiencing it. It's like you're immersed in it.
Yeah, no, that's really cool.
Yeah, because like the thing is too, it's like I'm sure some people were like, oh, dude, like I'm getting paid for artwork. They're getting what they get, and fuck, like no, dude, this is advertisement for me. And if I do a shitty job for someone, they're never going to want to work with me again.
Right. Truth.
So if I do a good job for them, and then like I'm cordial and we're buddies, it makes life so much easier, because then they trust you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're giving them something to be proud about, then you're proud too. You know what I mean? So
Totally.
it's helping each other. If I put out something shitty that I didn't get 100% for, then I'm like, oh man, like it comes down like you don't deserve that then. Like it's about like you have to put in the effort no matter what, no matter how tired you are.
Hell yeah. Well, it shows, dude. When Matt first showed me your work, when we were working with you getting on here, I checked you out on Instagram, and the first thing I noticed was the bright coloring and the depth to everything. And I think that depth comes from that background that you add in. You know, there's obviously the center focus, but you give so much for the eye to look out in the foreground or the background that allows it to, it feels like a hell of a lot more is going on the page than really is, you know, and the coloring is beautiful too. The bright colors and stuff. It really reminded me of an artist we've had on here before, Tallboy from Nightwatch. He does a lot of the same kind of real bright colors.
Dude, I can honestly tell you that if I never would have seen Tallboy stuff, I probably even wouldn't be giving this a serious go right now. Like
his stuff is dope, right?
Hell yeah, dude.
Oh, dude, I got his hippie use the side door thing on my basement door right now.
Yeah,
like,
dude.
Because I seen his stuff and I was just like, I'm like, that's exactly what I want to do. That this goes with the thing we said earlier. Like, man, like I want to start drawing stuff like this. And then like, I'm like, I had this conversation. Like, there's already a Tallboy. The world doesn't need a second Tallboy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it pisses me off when I see people ripping off the fucking Vacation Forever like fucking crazy.
Yeah.
That's so funny, man. Yeah.
Enough. Like, leave the design. Like, it's his. He did it. Be stoked. Move on.
Yeah.
It was
don't copy it.
That was funny because so he was a friend of a friend in San Diego, and kind of when he started putting out serious work and people picking it up and kind of getting turned on to him, we saw the immediate response of other companies being like, radioactive Vacation Forever. Like, it was
just
like
trying any
just
way
the
they
same
can.
shit, just slightly different. And it was like, man, I get that, like, this design is a play off of a vintage, like, retro thing, and this is like how they did it, but to just directly kind of like yank from it it's such a fucking...
Well, it's like covering a cover song. You know what I mean? Yes, the original song was completely different, and then someone covered it, and everyone's like, oh, now I can cover exactly like they did it. Like, no, that's still that band's creative process.
And at least give like the respect, because like I'm a big like I love Christmas. That's why I did
that's funny, dude.
That's rad.
I'm notorious for Christmas merch. I thought of the idea, it'd be funny, and if I did it, I would only post it and not sell anything. I'll be like, I would tag them, be like, hey, dude, like, this is homage to Tallboys. I want to do Christmas Vacation Forever. Have like a Cousin Eddie dude on the island with like, you know, the shitter in the background. Just like a joke and something fun, not something I would ever sell or act like I created. But it's been messed with so much where I'm just like, I'm probably not even going to touch that, but I just like love the idea. But like,
dude, that would be hilarious. I think Chris would definitely be into that if you just hit him up. I don't know if you talked to him about it, but if you were like, hey, I'm going to do a Christmas Vacation Forever with Cousin Eddie in a shitter, like overflowing. And like, you know what I mean? Like, it'd be so funny.
Just a post, like nothing to sell, just something to be stoked on for Christmas time. Like, again, like he lived in Philly for a little bit because I heard about that on the Lifeform episode.
Oh,
which makes me want to mention that one of my favorite artists, like currently lives in San Diego. He's a lifeguard. His name's Grumpy Greaser.
Okay.
All right.
You guys should check him out. That dude rules.
Dude, I don't know how I haven't heard about it.
Seriously.
Because like he's punk as fuck and he doesn't care.
Yeah,
He posts whenever he wants to post, but he is brush on paper, and that dude rules. I love that dude.
Hell yeah.
His name's Jeff. Check him out. He's so rad. But like if I hear about Tallboy stuff, man, if I wouldn't have seen his art along with like Burrito Breath and stuff like that, I would have been like, man, like, but basically the whole goddamn Swamp Wizards, you know, like, man, this is so cool. And like Boss Dog was like really good to me when I was starting out too, because like I reached out to him for just like advice, and he was just like, yeah, dude, you know, just hang in there and just like have fun with it.
Hell
like,
yeah.
There's hills and valleys, like just be cool. And then next day he's like a billion followers. And
dude,
he's like,
yeah, right.
Awesome.
That shit is wild. And you know, he like still promotes the same kind of message. He's like, have fun with art. Art is fun. You know, it's like Defender of Good Times, fucking Boss Dog, all the shit, like all the content that they put out on those profiles is like, enjoy it. Have fun with this, and you know, do it for yourself. And that's what art's about.
And like the thing I remember is that there'd be artists I'd reach out to for like tips of just like not tips like, dude, how do you draw so sick? Can I steal your ideas? I'm like, hey man, like what tablet do you use? Like what type of like program or software do you prefer? You get like left on red. You're like, okay, people are busy, but like anytime I just reached out to that dude, he always got back to me. So like I always loved Boss Dog for that. Like he was always just like so cool and kind to me, man. So I wish I could meet him one day just to like give him like a handshake to be like, dude, thanks for like give me the confidence in this dude just trying to make this happen, because like he definitely helped me along the way in terms of just like keep pushing, like don't worry about anything else, just do your stuff. That and Skinner did a badass interview once. Skinner's funny because that dude's like so awkward, but he's so informative in the things he says. Like he did a thing like someone's asking him about merch and about being an artist. He's like, dude, like, I don't know what to tell you. But he's like, about merchandise, he's like, don't worry about making merch. He's like, draw 500 things, create your style, do a thing that's for you. You know what I mean? And I'm like, so I was like, damn, that's really the way to go.
That
you know
app,
what I mean?
That came out like a year or two ago, a year and a half ago. I don't know. It's called Clubhouse, where it's just like voice, basically like interactive voice conversation. It's like a social media app. And I got on it for a short minute, and there's all these different kind of just like, I guess what a message board would be to old school internet, but just different like groups you could join. And then when there's talks, you'd be informed on like who was talking or whatever. And there'd be moderators and listeners, and you could interact and like ask questions. It wasn't typing. You would chime in with your voice. But Skinner did a bunch in this one group. I think it was like lowbrow art or something, like just like something general like that. And it was always fun to hear him talk, because he was just like, just fucking do it. Like, just make the work. Don't worry about what you're doing right or wrong. If you're worried about what you're doing right or wrong, you haven't drawn enough. Like, just draw your shit and work on it to make it better. It just for yourself.
Yeah. And it's just like, he just has a way when he talks that like you just listen, because he's always kind of like giggling all the time, but he's always so serious. But it's just so cool. Like I would just listen to what he was saying. I think to something similar, it might even been that same thing where he was, because like when I started this out, like it was like early 2017 and NONHIENOUS, like officially, like I was like, I'm just gonna make merch, and like that's how we'll survive. And like it was just such the wrong way to go, because like that love wasn't behind it. And I was making things so specific that I like that no one else fucking got it. You know what I mean? Like besides doing that, I did like a Stone Cold Philly Fanatic design, which did great here in Philly. You know what I mean? But like, I was thinking too small. That's why I was just like, you know what? Like, let me just get better at drawing. But it's like, it was just insane. Like I drew goofy things, and it just like went from there. But like, that's the best advice. Just draw. Just do a little each day. Like how you're saying about the podcast, or like, hey, just like you're just doing here and there, incrementally growing. Just do one thing each day, because like that's just progress is progress.
That's right.
Was there a thing?
And I'm still learning.
Was there a design that you remember like being the shifting point or like the turning point where you started getting reception or like feedback for your work? Like what was the one that like people started hitting you up on? Because when I wear the John Candy Polka King shirt, fucking I get stopped on the street, bro, by people that I wouldn't ever talk to about art. They're like, Home Alone. Like they just get it instantly, right? They're just like, hey, look at that. And they don't, I guarantee you, they don't know what the fucking Circle Jerks reference is or anything, but they just connect to it instantly. Like, is there a reception like that? Do you remember that first piece that you had that?
That's fine. So my buddies say he I get some really good support from my friends out here. He's like, yeah, I don't even know what the hell this is. I just know it's John Candy, so this is cool. I'm like, dude, thank you. But yeah, it was actually like again, when I was starting out, like my drawings were so, my process was so brutal. Like I would, like, sketch with pencil, then I would get like these nice micron pens and draw on top of that, scan it, and then color with just like the paint bucket in Photoshop. And dude, it was incredibly brutal. And I did like a mashup. I did like Hulk Hogan as Homer Simpson, Ned Flanders as Freddy Krueger, Butthead as Buzz Lightyear, and I forget the fourth one. But I was like, hey, I'll just make these stickers. I put them on a sticker app, and they reposted it because like they were just like, oh, this is fun. But it was like great for me. But then that's what changed. This dude from LA called El Capitan hit me up for like a Simpsons wrestling design. And I'm like, this is when the Simpsons shit was going crazy back then. And then another company see me, and it went from there. And then it's literally, since they reposted that, like my life has changed tenfold. Just from the work has been I've been doing like 5, 6, sometimes 7 jobs a week.
That's beautiful, man. See, and that is that's a beautiful story because your art is speaking for itself. Like you're not out there going, hey, I'm trying so hard, check me out, like selling yourself. They're like, yo, I like that, find that artist. And that's got to be so validating and vindicating.
It was insane because like I look back, like when I first started out, you can go back to my Instagram, like it wasn't like, I'm not that stoked on it now. As I'm like, man, like, I don't know what I know now then, but but I look now and like, I sometimes I just like scale back, like, man, I'm so grateful to be here right now. And like, I've worked so hard to get here. I'm just like enjoying like the moment, like, I'm finally learning a shading I wanted to learn. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh God, like, but like, because there's times where like you do jobs and like, sometimes you're just not in a good headspace. Like, man, like I'm just not too stoked on this, but they like it. So I guess it's cool. But now, like, I'm like lucky to be in a spot where I'm just like, I'm drawing the most random shit and giving it to people. And they're like, this is sick, dude. I can't believe it. Yeah. Like, this is great. Like, it's just crazy if you just stick with it, how you grow without even knowing you're growing.
That's the thing, is because we all start off drawing the shit we like and we just get better at that. So it's like, the subject matter hasn't changed too much per se, as the quality of the work does. It's like, I look back on, I look at stuff I did 2 months ago and I'm like, what the fuck was I even doing? Like, what was I trying to promote that for? It's crazy.
I'm like, what the fuck did I do there? But like, I don't get a complaint and it's still in production. Like, hey, I guess something's cool. But like, I think everybody's always critiquing themselves. You know what I mean? I think when you get comfortable, like, nah, that's fine. That's when you kind of start to get in trouble with things. But yeah, it's been a crazy ass ride. It's busy. Like, it's been busy for a long time, and it's just like, I don't know, if I wasn't doing this, I'd be in trouble for sure.
Hell yeah, dude.
I swear, dude, when as an artist, being able to say the word busy is like such a blessing, such a fucking blessing. So yeah. That is so rad. Dude, I'm glad to hear.
It's just like, it's just like, I gotta like, it's, you gotta break down the times. I work 9 to 5 still, and I come home, do my family stuff, then I draw 7 to midnight every night. Wow. Monday to Friday, faithfully. And I'll get a little bit on Saturday, and then and a Sunday night I'll kick off my week so I can be prepared to keep going and keep going and keep going. And like, I work on 3, 4, 5 jobs a night, get a sketch out to somebody, do the lines for this one, color this one, get this done, get this approved, then that all the way through Friday. So you bang out, 4 to 6 jobs a week, but it's just like hour and a half here, half hour there, hour there. And it's just like, at the end of the week, you're like, woo. So I can't believe I got all this shit done, dude.
So what do you do for you? Like, how do you fulfill Colin? Because now you've got a 9 to 5, you've obviously got family and other obligations, and then you're doing art now for like pay and commission. Like, what is now is your hobby, or how do you fulfill Colin?
So that's the thing. Like, this is extremely fulfilling, like this isn't like a second job where I'm just like hauling pizzas for Uber, Yeah. This is like, I get to like do this. I get to do this at my house. I can take a break anytime I want. You know what I mean? Like this is so fulfilling. It's like, the real kind of Freudian drawback is like, my mother had passed away in 2018, and I didn't know until her funeral that she was a great artist.
Wow.
People were speaking about her. I'm like, what? And I'm looking at my family. I'm like, are they serious? They're like, yeah, she was tremendous. I'm like, how did I not know this? You
wow,
know?
dude.
But then I started thinking about growing up. Like, I didn't grow up rich, you know? So like, you ask for stupid toys, it's like, no, we're not getting that. But I noticed when I ever asked for like something to draw with, like paper or like coloring stuff, instantly had it. You know, she always, boom. I'm like, damn, like I'm thinking back, like she always had it. And she was like alive a little towards once this was starting up. So she would comment on Facebook, and it's like so awesome to see. But like, that's what's fulfilling, that I'm kind of like doing this through me for her, you know?
Yeah, dude.
Like, so that's really sick. But like, I guess like besides like, you know, hang out with my family and shit, my passions, it's silly, but like baseball is like my thing, and like all
Love
things
it.
baseball, like old horrible baseball movies, like Major League. And
Yeah.
actually I got something right here.
Yes. It's
bought
opening
it.
day. Padres Diamondbacks right now.
Angels opening.
bought
Oh
this on
yeah,
eBay.
bro.
Dude, I found the artist, and I'm trying to get him to do a commission for me, but he's just like, this guy's too weird. Just please leave me alone.
Yo.
It still has
How
the
old
gun.
is
Dude, that
that?
is
Like,
so rad.
Is that early 90s? Is that late 80s? What is that?
it's late 80s. It's called Baseball's Awesome All-Stars. It's
Holy
all
shit.
monsters. It's a dude who used to draw old Mad comic covers.
Yeah, yeah. I almost
BK
like
Taylor.
I can recognize. What's his name?
BK Taylor, older gentleman. I think he lives in like New England now.
I recognize the artwork like immediately from my childhood, and
Yo,
like
it looked like Big League Chew.
yeah, well, that's the whole thing.
Exactly.
But
He did that.
yeah, fucking A. That's crazy.
That's rad.
But
Dude,
yeah, baseball. So I got opening day tomorrow for the Phillies. Took off work. So
Angels, Padres today,
Padres
Dodgers
today,
tomorrow.
yeah, man, Tatis has to stay off the motorcycles, dude.
Yo.
we don't talk about that.
I'm an Angels fan over
I
here.
hear, dude. Our boy who's just killing it in spring training, Mickey Moniak, just broke his goddamn wrist. He's
Yeah,
out
bro.
sick.
really?
You guys are
I didn't
screwed.
even hear about that.
But yeah, like that's like I'm like, dude, I'm super fortunate. You know what I mean? Like, so like the stuff for me, it's just like I'm lucky like to be able to do this in my home. I don't have to rent a space anywhere. I do it in my basement, you know. And you know, I wish it didn't take as much time, but like what it does for our life is just undeniable. So it's just like I get
Hell
to
yeah.
click on a game, listen to music. So it's a super fortunate situation. You know what I mean? And it's just hard work gets you here, but it's one of those things where it's like Russ never sleeps. So I'm just so scared to like not draw one day, because I'll be like, I'm gonna fall behind, you know.
Yeah,
Like the working
totally.
man's guilt.
Yeah, and I feel that same way. It's like trying to kind of put together curate like a artist company platform. We do this podcast, we do the online store, and we're trying to like promote people and grow the company and work with more people. There's just so many days I'm just like, I don't want to fucking do this. But at the same time, if you like you said, you schedule it, you're like, Monday through Friday, I work on this 7 to midnight. Like you treat it like a job. And I find myself doing that more often than not and blocking off time, because then I know I can just directly give my attention to it instead of trying to do it a little bit here and a little bit there. Because it's every day. But when I sit down and like try to do work, I have to block off that time and be like, all right, I got to treat this like a job. So kudos to you for recognizing that and doing that for yourself, man.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things where it's just like, you know, if I'm not drawing, then it's just like I'm not, you know, earning. You know, like so like my 9 to 5 job covers like my house and my bills minus like maybe $100 give or take. So drawing is literally everything else. Like any kind of like go to the store, that's all drawing.
Yeah, yeah.
Entertainment, it's all drawing. Anything excess is all drawing. Anything saving is all drawing. So it went from like there was a point where we were living off of like maybe $96 for 2 weeks when we were like trying to get on our feet with things, to where we kind of like breathe a little bit. And it's just insane where this is just, it's not like a flex none. It's just like nonstop hard work.
No,
you know
yeah,
what I mean?
no, totally.
60, 70 hour weeks, or like staying up late or not being able to go to a family function because I got to get this job done because I'm not trying to be seen as unreliable. Because all it takes is, you know, you can have 10 awesome reviews, but all it takes is one bad review to get out there, and it screws your whole shit up.
Yeah,
you
now
know?
all
So
of
I
a
just
sudden
try
you're
to-
the guy that doesn't care and you're only out for yourself, or like only
That's
care about
it.
your time. Yeah.
And yeah, and it's just like, dude, I take pride in getting it done on time and getting things done on time and working as many things at once, probably to a point where I should be like, hey, my commissions are closed right now because I'm just so backlogged.
Right.
I'm like, dude, I'll get it. Just give me a minute. I'll take care of it. Or like, I'm doing this. Let me take care of that. Like I might not be able to get to this for 2 or 3 weeks, but just you hit me a message anytime. We can always talk about your art. Like, no problem. But like, I just have to take care of this because like, I just take it as it comes in line. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Totally, man.
But some people think they'll hit you up brand new. Hey, dude, I want this artwork. I want, like, this train blowing up. I need, like, this head falling out of it, like, real big, all this other stuff. And the next day, he's like, yo, so is it done? It's like, dude, I just read the message for real, dude. I know it's not done. It takes a little time.
I just started to think about what this is going to be. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but it comes to the point people just don't know the process, which is cool, too.
Yeah,
so that's why it's never like, no, motherfucker, leave me alone.
Well, one of these days, when our art commissions budget goes up, we're gonna have you do something for Rat Nest, and we'll bother you every single day, asking if it's finished.
Dude, I'm just gonna go in sleep mode. Is there sleep mode on Instagram? I'm just gonna
Hell yeah, dude. Well, we're about gonna hit time here, man. It's been a pleasure talking with you. But before we get out of here, tell all the people that listen where they can find your stuff at and how to check you out.
Yeah, honestly, guys, thanks for listening. Thanks, guys, for having me on. That kind of really flew by. I just operate mainly on Instagram, just at NONHIENOUS. Try to post here and there. I do a lot of like updates, just like things I'm working on, but that's everything I'm doing. And just want to say a sincere thank you to everyone I do work with. It's crazy what you guys have done for my life, what I've been able to do, and how to take care of my family. And it's just cool to just tickle that fancy and draw weird shit and have people enjoy it,
Hell yeah, dude.
We love it, man.
Came a long way from drawing masturbating hot dogs on my punk band flyers.
Well, we're going to be on the lookout for those cans that have your artwork on it. We got a few craft beer spots that pull them in all over the country, and we're going to go look for some specific cans now.
Yeah. I mean, I do a good chunk of Mason Ale Works out there, and Beer Zombies, I believe, is all over out there for you guys.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, that'd be sick, man. I hope you guys can come across it. I still haven't seen one. I've seen one on a commercial on TV out here, but I haven't seen one in person. I was like,
all right. Well, now we've got a goal to search for.
Man, hell yeah. Dude, I'm stoked. Thank you so much for having me on. This was a lot of fun. I felt like we've known each other a long time. We were able to rap pretty easy.
I felt super comfortable, man. Pleasure was all on this side of the screen. Seriously, dude. It was an honor to have you on. We appreciate you. Thanks for being so open and honest with us too. As for lack of a better term, strangers. And we hopped on here and felt like we'd known each other a minute, dude. It was great.
And that's how you know. Some people, when you're on that same vibe, you can just be boys. You just know.
That's right.
What I mean? You just say, this was so effortless, man. I'll do this every day if we need to.
Fuck yeah.
Hell yeah.
We're trying. No, yeah, we'll do this again whenever you want, man. We're just
dude, you tell me.
We're getting episodes out and just continuing to do our thing and building a brand. We have a zine coming out. I believe I hit you up about it, right? So
dude, yeah, I was gonna say, I thought we'll take care of that. We'll do something real sick for that.
We got the zine going. We're gonna have an event out here in Southern California in May.
Oh yeah, real quick, let's sidetrack and plug that real quick. May 28th here in Redlands, California, Rat Nest Art Fest, downtown Redlands, and we are gonna have a dozen or so artists and vendors and DJs. Hopefully, have some cocktails and some food going.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a beautiful day.
So we're looking forward to setting all that up. We're in the process of setting all that up. And yeah, it's just going to be low key, nothing crazy. Don't expect it to be huge, but just a little thing to support some of the Rat Nest artists and also the local businesses here where our office is. And, have some food and beers and bullshit with each other. So that'll be cool. We got the zine coming out. Like we said, your website is nonheinous.com.
And
it's just a link to an old Tumblr or something.
Yeah.
And then definitely check out at NonHeinous on Instagram. You will not be disappointed. That's where I got most of my research done before this episode, and I was stoked.
NonHeinous on Tumblr, LiveJournal, Zanga,
OnlyFans,
and MySpace.
Oh, sorry.
All right, listen, let's do a top 5. Ready? Favorite pizza?
Brand or style?
Yeah. Wait, we going maker or?
Anything.
Oh, okay.
What favorite topic?
Favorite
Oh,
topping?
all right. You give me a classic New York style, like spicy Hawaiian. That is where it's at
a
to me.
classic spicy Hawaiian. What
I
does
want
that even mean?
So a nice thin crust that I can fold. I want Hawaiian, but I want them jalapenos on it,
Ooh,
man.
you nasty girl.
Give me that.
Dude, sleeper, throw pepperoni on that. Gnarly.
Yo.
I showed my buddy
yo.
that, and he was like, dude, that's so sick. Okay, what about you?
All right. Well, you guys just fucking nailed it. So when I lived in San Diego, I lived behind this pizza shop called Luigi's, and it was like the go-to spot. And they had a pie called the Spicy Kevo that was pineapple, jalapeno, pepperoni, and like tomato, or that was like the Jimmy Jam. Or if I'm really, really hungover for whatever reason, I don't know why, but no red sauce, I'll go pesto pepperoni cheese.
Oh,
Yeah,
I might
yeah.
have to
And
check that out.
all the salt just brings it back into me.
oh yeah.
Hey, listen.
What
If
about
they
you?
got salt. Dude, I'm gonna say the Hawaiian, but I love a big old meat lovers too. But I see I'm a hot sauce guy, so unless it's gonna make me see hell, I'm probably not gonna eat it. You know what I mean?
If I'm in Philly, what pizza shop am I hitting at?
Perry's right down the street from me. I live in the quasi ghetto, so it's like ghetto pizza is the best pizza.
Hell
Yes, sir. Always.
But okay, number 4, current driving music.
yeah. Ooh.
So I'm not gonna lie. I just bought a truck from a 90-something-year-old dude. My homie's grandfather was selling a little 99 Frontier. I got in it. It has a tape deck, and as I get in, I'm like, ooh, there's a tape in there. Let's see what this is. Doobie Brothers from like '79, and it is a cassette tape. And I've been just letting it go on loop ever since I bought the truck.
That's
So that's
sick.
all I'm listening
That's
to.
kind of sick.
I thought you were gonna say it's gonna be Fueled by Metallica over and over.
Oh no, dude, even older.
That's sick.
I find myself, because I only drive really to come do the podcast and stuff. I live like an hour away from the studio here. So I listen to a lot of like NPR and Republican radio to see like both sides of what's happening and how they overreact on both sides to kind of find like that middle ground.
It's really good to hear both sides are crazy.
It's wild. They're both outlandish. Don't get me wrong. But if I was going music, I would go like something really just puts me at ease about like the Replacements or like something like that 80s like kind of post punk. I don't even know. I don't know what you call it. But yeah, that 80s Replacements kind of vibe.
Yo, I'm going to answer for Matt because every time I've been in his car recently, it's just been a podcast or talk radio. So that's what he's listening to while he drives.
Or classical. I'll fuck some classical up. There's a station out here, it's like the college radio station that just plays like Bach and like Chopin and shit.
Yeah.
And that's always rad. If you're driving, that's like a fun music to listen to.
Takes your brain out of it. Like mine's just been CKY. I just been like such riff heavy music. I'm just like, I can't get out of my skate head sometimes. All right, number 3, favorite skateboarder.
Favorite skateboarder all day. I'm going Jerry Sue.
Okay.
That's my boy. He was like tech and switch when that shit was like cool to me in high school, and just like goes big still. Like, I mean, that nollie frontside heel flip in Bag of Suck down the 14 to end it is just insane. I don't know.
So I can't say this is my favorite skater, but truthfully, the one that had the most impact on me was Daewon Song. Watching him do his like no front truck manuals and like revert manuals and then 360 flip manuals, that just blew my mind growing up. He had definitely the most impact on the way I skated. All I wanted to do was be able to like kickflip to manual on a box. Like I didn't care about grinding. I didn't care about scares. Just give me that ability to just balance all the way through. That shit blew my mind.
Right, because the trick's not over when you land it. You know what I mean? It's just you had to land and then stay. Like, that's insane.
Yeah.
So like I think mine is just current because he's just so funny and he just cracks in his Dave Gravette. That dude, it's just awesome.
I was gonna say, if we're going current, I love the Creature team. Dave Gravette, sick. Fucking the Santa Cruz team, and then especially like Jamie Foy. Just you can't deny Big Boy Foy. Just going,
Foy's the fucking
just killing the game.
Yo, I can't even watch modern skaters or nowadays skaters because I'm like, get out of here. Like, you know what I mean? Like, back when I was a kid, I was like, I could probably progress. Yeah, seriously, dude. They got fucking power-ups and shit going on.
So bizarre. All right, number 2, favorite style of beer.
IPA.
Yeah.
A
I fucking
classic
hate,
West
I hate to
Coast.
say it. If I had to go anything besides IPA, I would go like a traditional Belgian like lambic, like a fruit sour, something sweet,
Lambics are the shit.
raspberry and 3%. Like I'll fuck that up.
Give me an imperial stout, barrel aged. That's that. If I'm not drinking IPAs, that's where I'm at.
Adult Robitussin's what I call imperial stouts, man.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I'd have to say mine's lagers. I just like beers where you can drink 30 of them. Yeah, that's usually like my go-to.
Yo, it has to be a lager that's just like a straight lager though. Like I don't want an IPL. I don't want to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
no frills, no dry hop lager, no extract lager.
The dry hop lager is cool for one. Like that's
it.
I get it. That's cool. But if I'm going for distance, I want a Pilsner lager that's just easy drinking. Fuck it up.
Well, I hope you guys enjoy this new segment I've added to your show.
Yeah, dude,
was
you got
beautiful,
one more question.
Okay, the last one. Who was your favorite guest on here, and why is it me?
Ooh, it's because of your beard.
I'm just kidding. No, like I'm just joking around. I guess the last one would be like, why did you guys start this podcast?
Shit, man, it was like a direct response to like starting the business, I guess. My friend and mentor Charles Globitz kind of like helps me out in the beginning in the sense of he made our logo. We had a lot of conversation about like what I was trying to do with the company. And
to be clear, the company is Ratness Sticker Co. doing like prints and arts and doing all of that side of it.
You're right.
I'm gonna get some stickers from you guys.
Hell yeah.
I got
Definitely. We'll hook you up.
Yeah, and he was like, "What?" He's like, "What do you think about doing a podcast?" Like,
we need to promote the artist somehow.
yeah, I think he was just kind of like, you can talk to, like, you can bullshit. Like, what do you think about that? And I was like, oh, I guess I should do that. And then Jim and me have been friends forever since, fucking high school. And I was like, hey man, you want to help me out with this project? And it just started from there, man.
Dude, I was gonna put on my story a couple of weeks ago, like, hey, like, what are some cool art podcasts I could try to maybe like get on? Like, the only one I ever knew about was like Life Forms, and it was so sporadic. So it is like super rad and awesome what you dudes are doing, because like being in our community, like, or being like, oh god, I hate saying it, an artist, like, you don't have a lot of time to like self-promote yourself or like make a cool reel because you're fucking drawing.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing your thing. You don't have like, you're not like you can't take a selfie in front of a mirror and sell that. Your work is your work. So, but it's so cool to like have like an avenue like this to be able to shoot the shit and learn the personality of the artist, besides just like, because sometimes you only had time to like, dude, I got this print for sale, or hey, I got this t-shirt for sale. It's like, you don't have time to do it because you're either 9 out of 10 times the artist is probably a print or two, printing his own shit, or he's already drawing on something else. So I want to thank you guys for having this out there for us, because we need this too.
Damn, dude, that rules. Thank you so much,
bro. That means a lot more than
sure.
you know.
Yeah,
thank you.
It's just fun for us, like being an artist myself, or like, trying to make shit and create for myself. I find that like every time we talk to somebody, it's like anything. Anytime you talk to somebody, you learn something, or you look at something in a different way, or you get a different little tidbit on how to do something better. It's one of those things that's, it's just as productive for us as it is for whoever is trying to promote, or like who we're having on to promote their stuff.
Yeah, it's seriously been like so refreshing meeting. I mean, at this point we've interviewed like 50 different artists, over 50 artists, and every single one of them has the same vibe, the same openness, the same happiness. Like it's so easy to sit down, and today was no different, bro. Like we never met, we sat down and it was like we were homies, like right from the beginning. So
that's how some people are just on that wavelength, man. And it's such a beautiful thing to be on. It's just like, oh, it's good to know there's other people out there who are just like chill.
Yeah, and that's what we're trying to cultivate. Like that's really what the art community is about. Like doesn't matter what style of art you put out, whether it's illustrations, comic books, fucking anything under the sun, we all are the same when it comes to creating. You know what I'm saying? And we all kind of live in that same vibe.
I love it, man.
Well, this has been amazing,
really,
dude. Thanks again for sitting down with us. It's like really was a pleasure getting to catch up, or getting to meet you, and just see that you're such a grounded soul. You got your shit going on. Like keep up that motivation, keep up that drive, bro. Everything that I've seen and that I looked up is just crushing it. So don't change.
Hey man, I appreciate it. And thanks for, being a voice for us. This is fucking cool, man. And just keep this going. There's going to be hills and valleys like anything, but just keep rolling with it, man. That's it.
Hell yeah, dude. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
And we'll definitely, let's get some stickers from us. We'll collab on a shirt. We'll get you design something.
Yes, sir.
We'll do something. We'll fucking keep in touch and, keep busy with each other.
Dude, sounds rad. It was fucking cool shit to officially meet you guys, man.
Hell yeah, dude.
Absolutely. Much love, man. And goodbye to you in the background, too.
Bye.
Nice meeting you.
This has been another episode of the Rat Nest Podcast. You can catch us every Friday on YouTube for the video and wherever you stream your podcast for the audio. Check out ratneststickerco.com for stickers, shirts, prints, comics, zines, and more. Jim?
I'm Jim.
Bye.